If you receive Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA benefits, or railroad retirement payments, you need to pay attention right now because there is talk of a possible $1,400 boost for millions of Americans. And a lot of people have no clue it is even being discussed. They may only realize it when the money shows up in their account or when they discover they missed information they should have seen earlier. So stick with me for a moment because I'm going to explain this in simple terms. I'll go over who this may affect, how it could work, when it might happen, and what you should do right now so you are not left out. Let's begin at the start because I want everyone watching to be on the same page. Whether you have been getting benefits for 20 years or you only recently started, Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA compensation, and railroad retirement benefits are not just routine government payments. For tens of millions of Americans, these payments are a lifeline. They help pay rent, buy groceries, cover prescriptions, handle utilities, and meet the basic cost of daily life. And for a long time, many people who depend on these benefits have felt like they are slipping further behind because prices keep climbing. But their monthly amount does not always rise fast enough to keep up. That is the main problem, and that is exactly what this possible $2,400 increase is meant to address. Now, I want to be very clear with you from the beginning, because I always try to be honest with you. This is not final yet. It is a proposal, a legislative effort that has real momentum behind it in 2026. And whether it passes completely, passes partly, or gets changed along the way, you deserve to understand what is being suggested, who it covers, and why it matters. So let's go through it together. Here is something many people do not understand. There are several different benefit programs being discussed in relation to this increase, and they do not all work the same way. Social Security retirement benefits, Social Security disability insurance, also called SSDI, supplemental security income, also called SSI, Veterans Affairs compensation benefits, and Railroad Retirement Board benefits are 5 separate programs. They serve different groups of people. They follow different rules. But they all share one major issue right now. People in all 5 groups are saying, what we are getting is not keeping up with real-world expenses. And lawmakers are finally starting to pay attention, in a more serious way than they have in years. So let's talk about where the $2,400 figure comes from. Stay with me because this part matters. The proposal being discussed would provide an average increase of about $2,400 per year to eligible recipients. That works out to roughly $200 more each month. And before anyone says that is not much, let me stop you there. Because if someone is living on $1,100 or $1,300 or even $1,600 a month, an extra $200 is absolutely meaningful. That is a utility bill. That is a grocery run. That is a prescription copay that does not have to go on a credit card. That is real money for real people. And I do not want anybody brushing that off. Now, how would this increase actually be delivered? Let's step back and talk about the mechanism. A few different ideas are being discussed, and this is where it gets a little technical, but I'll keep it plain and simple. One idea is a direct, across-the-board increase, where every recipient in the covered programs gets a fixed dollar amount added to their monthly check. Another idea ties the increase to a change in how cost of living adjustments, or COLAs, are calculated. You may have heard of the CPI-E, which stands for the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. Right now, Social Security COLAs are calculated using the CPI-W, which measures spending patterns for working-age people, not retirees or people with disabilities. The argument, and it is a strong one, is that older adults and disabled Americans spend a larger share of their income on housing and healthcare than working-age people do, and those costs have climbed much faster than general inflation. So, if the formula changes to better reflect what these groups actually spend money on, the COLA each year would likely be higher. Over time, that makes a major difference, and for some people, that difference adds up to that $2,400 a year figure. Here is another thing a lot of people do not realize. The COLA problem has been quietly eroding the buying power of Social Security and other benefits for decades. In 2023 and 2024, we saw some large COLA increases, 8.7% and then 3.2%, because inflation was running hot. But before that, there were years when COLA was 1.3% or even zero. At the same time, Medicare premiums were rising, rent was rising, and food costs were rising too. So beneficiaries were technically receiving a COLA, but their real spending power was still shrinking. This reform is trying to correct that deeper problem. Now let's talk about who would specifically be affected, because this is where a lot of people get confused. If you receive Social Security retirement benefits, meaning you worked, paid into the system, and now you are collecting the benefit you earned, you would be included. If you receive SSDI, meaning you have a disability that keeps you from working and Social Security has approved your claim, you would be included as well. If you receive SSI, Supplemental Security Income, which helps people who are elderly, blind, or disabled and have very limited income and resources, you would also be part of the group, although the details of SSI increases can be handled a little differently, and I will come back to that. If you are a veteran receiving VA disability compensation, there is a parallel push to make sure those benefits also keep up, and some versions of the proposal specifically include VA recipients. If you receive railroad retirement benefits, which come from a separate federal retirement system for railroad workers and their families, you would also be affected under the broader reform effort. Let's put some real numbers on this for a second, because I want you to actually feel what this means, not just hear about it in theory. Let's say you are a retired person receiving $1,400 a month from Social Security right now. With a $200 monthly increase, you would move to $1,600 a month. Over 12 months, that is $2,400 more in your pocket each year. If you are on SSDI and receiving $1,100 a month, which is honestly a very common payment amount, moving to $1,300 a month could mean you can cover your car insurance without panic, keep the heat on all winter, or stop choosing between food and medication. I know that may sound dramatic, but for millions of people, that is literally the math they do every single month, and this proposal recognizes that reality. Now here is something I really want you to understand, because this is the part that gets lost in the headlines. Even if this proposal passes, it will almost certainly be rolled out gradually. That means you probably will not wake up one day and suddenly see $2,400 extra in your account all at once. It is much more likely to show up as a monthly increase, that extra $200 or so added to your payment going forward. So it is important to manage expectations about both the timing and the delivery method. Do not let anyone tell you that a lump sum check for $2,400 is about to drop into your account next week. If someone says that, be very cautious. And that brings me to something I need to address directly: scams. This is a big one. Every time there is major news about Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, or any federal benefit program, scammers appear almost immediately. They may call you, text you, email you, or even show up in your social media feed, telling you that you need to verify your banking details to get the new increase, or that there is a special enrollment period and you will lose money if you do not act right away, or that you need to pay a fee to process your raise. None of that is real. The Social Security Administration, the VA, and the Railroad Retirement Board do not call people out of the blue and ask for bank account numbers or Social Security numbers over the phone. If that happens, hang up. Do not engage. These scammers target older adults and people with disabilities because they know those groups are paying close attention to benefit news right now. So please share this warning with anyone you know who gets these benefits. There is no reason to be embarrassed. These criminals are skilled, and staying alert is the smartest thing you can do. Now let's talk about what you should actually be doing right now in 2026 to prepare for this possible change and to put yourself in the strongest position to benefit from it. First, make sure your direct deposit information is up to date and accurate with whichever agency pays your benefit. If your bank changed, if you moved, or if anything about your payment setup changed, fix it now. Do not wait until after a change happens and then scramble to figure out where your money went. Log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov or contact the VA or the RRB directly and confirm everything is correct. Second, Make sure you know exactly what you are receiving right now and why. A lot of people get their monthly payment and honestly do not know the full breakdown, base amount, deductions, Medicare premiums being withheld, or anything else that may apply. When an increase comes, you want to be able to look at the new payment and say, "Yes, that makes sense," or "Wait, something is wrong here." You cannot do that if you do not know your starting point. So pull up your benefit verification letter, download your statement, and know your numbers. Third, if you have a trusted family member, caregiver, or financial counselor who helps you manage your money, bring them into the conversation now. Tell them about this possible increase. Talk through what an extra $200 a month would mean for your budget, and start thinking about the smartest way to use it. Would it go toward medical bills, a small emergency fund, or paying down debt? Having a plan means that when the money comes, it actually improves your life in a lasting way instead of getting swallowed up by chaos. And here is something that applies specifically to SSI recipients that I really want you to hear. SSI has resource limits and income rules. Right now, those limits are $2,000 for an individual and $3,000 for a couple. If you receive SSI and you suddenly have more savings or extra income than allowed, it can affect eligibility. Now, a monthly increase of $200 is unlikely to push most people over any cliff, but it is still important to be aware of the rules. If your finances are close to any limit, it is worth talking with a benefits counselor, many of whom offer free help through nonprofit organizations, so you understand how any increase might interact with your specific situation. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture for a moment, because I think that matters too. This push for a meaningful benefit increase in 2026 is happening at a time when American families are under serious financial pressure. Inflation has cooled from its peak, but the prices that went up, like groceries, housing, and healthcare, mostly did not come back down. They are just rising more slowly now. And for people living on fixed incomes, rising more slowly still means getting more expensive every year. The argument for this increase is not only compassionate, it is also economically sensible. When people on fixed incomes have more money, they spend it. They are not putting it into offshore accounts. They buy groceries at local stores. They pay local service providers. They keep money moving through their communities. That creates a different kind of economic stimulus, one that reaches people who truly need it. As for what happens next, Congress will keep debating the details of this proposal throughout 2026. There will be hearings. There will be amendments. There will be political back and forth. That is how these things usually work. But the momentum is real, the need is well documented, and millions of Americans are paying close attention. The best thing you can do is stay informed, stay engaged, and make sure the people who represent you in Washington know that this matters to you. Write a letter. Make a phone call. Talk to a neighbor who also gets benefits. Collective awareness creates political pressure, and political pressure can move policy. And I want to leave you with this. You earned these benefits. Whether that came through decades of work and payroll contributions, through service to this country, through a disability that changed your life, or through a lifetime of limited resources, you deserve support that actually keeps up with the reality of living in this country. A $2,400 annual increase is not a giveaway. It is a recognition that the current system has been falling behind, and that the people who rely on it deserve better. Do not let anyone make you feel otherwise. So here is what I need you to do right now. Check your current benefit amount. Verify your direct deposit information. Watch out for scams. Report anything suspicious to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov or to your agency's Inspector General. Stay alert for updates as this proposal moves through Congress. And please, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your parent, your neighbor, your friend who has been worried about making ends meet. Because the more people understand what is happening, the better prepared everyone is to benefit from it. Do not leave money on the table. Stay informed. Check your account and share this with someone who needs to hear it.